everybody! Welcome to another MandoLessons Live. It's been a couple weeks. I've been out of town for a little while and busy with weekendy things, but I'm happy to be back. That was a tune called Over the Waterfall. Stick around to the end of the hour where we'll all jam around with that tune and have a little kind of internet jam with it. It's always fun. My name's Baron Collins Hill. I run MandoLessons.com, and I do these live streams most Saturdays that I am around and available to do this. It's always a lot of fun. Try to keep it nice and casual. And yeah, just a great time to ask any questions you might have on playing the mandolin or music in general or fiddle tunes. I'm happy to take requests as long as they are in the public domain. So no pop song covers or country covers or things like that. It's got to be stuff that YouTube won't shut down my channel for. And yeah, so throw out questions. I see a bunch of people here already. Some new faces, some old faces. We've got Evansville, Indiana, Little Falls, Minnesota, South Carolina, London, Austin, Texas, Netherlands. Cool. And a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to catch up with the chat here. Got Dan in the chat. Good to see you, Dan. Yep, Mike, I do these live shows. I've been doing them for a little while now. I'm glad you could join us for one. Sean says, just want to know that I love your tutorials. Thank you so much. Definitely improved your mandolin game significantly. Cool. I appreciate it. You say donation inbound. That's always appreciated. Not required. There's a couple ways to donate. There's a link, a couple links in the description where you can donate whatever you choose through PayPal as a one-time donation. You can also join the Patreon community where for a small monthly donation you can get access to lessons early, free play-along tracks, patron-only versions of this style Q&A once a month, all sorts of things like that. So check out the Patreon page if you haven't already. And of course there's always the good old-fashioned P.O. box if that's your choosing. But I love making all this stuff for free, so it's always only if you feel comfortable with that sort of thing. James says, first question, how has the octave mandolin informed your playing? That is a great question. I think it's really made me appreciate a couple things, really. One is, on the octave mandolin, I love the sustain that you get. I think what it is the octave mandolin has kind of a sustain that you don't get out of a mandolin. The notes decay quicker on a mandolin. And also, just the pitch of the instrument of the octave mandolin is so much lower that I think just kind of seeing those comparisons really has allowed me to make, kind of figure out for myself, and it'll change for everyone, kind of on personal preference, kind of what role I want the mandolin to play and how I can use its strengths to the greatest ability and maybe kind of shy away from some of the weaknesses. So I try not to worry too much about sustain on a mandolin. I love you can really play a lot faster melodies because you're not stretching as much between notes. It's a little closer. Things like that. But yeah, I think, any instrument that I pick up, I play a lot of fretted instruments, so mandolin, mandola, octave mandolin, tenor banjo, 5-string banjo, clawhammer style, things like that. Always kind of, when I pick them up, it really, one of the first things I look for is like, what is the strength of this instrument? What are some of the weaknesses that it has compared to other instruments that I already play? And doing things like that and kind of asking those questions allows me to figure out how I want to use said instrument. Great question, though. Denise, good to see you here. Yeah, I missed the last 2 weeks, so it's been 3 weeks since the last one of these, but I'm excited to be back. Have Dog Will Travel, good to see you here. Says, I have a question. I'm having trouble playing from tabs and not being able to fret the right note. Either overshooting or too short of the fret. Any practice advice? I think what you're describing there is totally normal. I think it, get a little tea here. I think a lot of that stuff, as long as you're aware of it and you kind of practice through it, you'll get to the point where you never have to think about it again. There's so many aspects of playing an instrument that really require you to kind of understand what the problem is, identify the problem, and then work through it. So whether that's pick direction or the sun is going behind the clouds a lot, so the color is changing. I feel like I'm going very orange and then very blue. But, I think, I'm sorry, I got all distracted by the light there. Oh yeah, whether it's pick direction or kind of getting your finger in the right place or ornaments, or I had that similar sort of question to yours a lot about sliding, like sliding too far or not far enough, things like that. As long as you're aware of it and there's no one specific thing, I would say slow down. But also mostly, the number one thing is to keep your ears open and recognize when you're missing the note or not getting a clean sound and just playing through it. And I expect that if you give it a little bit of thought every time you pick up the instrument. It's not something you can practice. You can't say, like, okay, I'm going to spend an hour practicing hitting the right notes. That doesn't really work. It's kind of combined with all of the other things you work on when you pick up an instrument to play. But, if you take a month of, at least having that in the back of your mind somewhere, I would imagine that in a month you're much closer to being much more reliable on hitting the right fret at the right time. Hope that's helpful. Wow. Cataract surgery for Frankie. I hope it goes well. I'm sure it will. And I bet you're looking forward to seeing better than ever. Is it your microphone? It sounds a little echoey. Huh. I don't know exactly what that is. I do have a couple like echoey instruments on the wall back there, so maybe you're catching some of that. If it's really echoey, let me know and I'll try to fix it. But if it's still listenable, then I'll just go along and not worry about it too much. I think it might be that banjo back there. Where is it? Over there. Nice echoey banjo in the background. Cool. Elizabeth is enjoying On Common Ground and Pig Ankle Rag. Great. JN, good to see you here. Good to be back. Thank you so much, Andrew and Sean, for the Super Chat donations. Andrew says, happy to be able to listen, working through some of David Benedict's tunes. A great picker with some great tunes. A lot of position shifting. Yeah, he is a master of that stuff. And Sean says, happy St. Practice Day. Prelude to St. Patrick's. Off to the session with me. I'm missing one sort of pre-St. Patrick's Day gig tonight because I'm playing a dance somewhere else, but then tomorrow I'm going to be playing Irish tunes in the afternoon into the evening. So go find your local Irish establishment and hear or play some good tunes. Any thoughts on the difference between ballads, laments, and airs? That's a great question. That's something I'm not particularly familiar with. A lot of those things are gonna, ballads, laments, and airs are coming from tunes or songs with words. So they'll have lyrics to them, and yeah, the sort of the differences between those in terms of what makes them different when they have lyrics, I'm not entirely sure. And then it's gonna sort of depend from there as you transfer it into a tune. So I'm not the best. That's a great question. Maybe you could ask that over at Mandolin Cafe and someone would be able to help you out over there. There's a lot of really knowledgeable folks over there. Richard says, hello from Oregon, learning John Barleycorn this last week. That's a good one that you could, well, maybe not pull out. It's an English song, but you could probably get away with doing it on St. Patrick's Day. Certainly thematically correct. And a great song. What's his name? Chris Wood, a great fiddle and guitar player from England, does a great version of that song. And a bunch of other people. Juice says, I got a bass guitar 2 weeks ago and never realized how close the mandolin frets actually are. Yeah, that's a big difference between a mandolin and a bass. But it's good to, get both of those extremes, and then playing a regular guitar will seem right down the middle and you'll have no problem whatsoever. How about an Irish tune for St. Patrick's Day from Denise? Yeah. That's a good question. What's the Irish tune gonna be? Oh, the Cash Jig. Yeah, I can't remember if this is the Cash Jig or not, but I'm gonna play it. Sure if this is the B part. Really looks what came out of my head. think that's the Kesh jig. And I think those two parts go together, but my brain just had a little backfire, and I'm not feeling particularly confident. But maybe somebody out there can tell me if that's actually, I just played the right thing or not. Alright, also a request for Chinkapin hunting. Do you mean the one in D or the one in A? There are both on my website, and I'll play either or both. Thank you so much, Have Dog Will Travel, for the super chat. Very kind and generous. Cool. If you're playing along, that means I was hopefully playing the right tune. Okay, cool. Thank you, Chip. Keeping me on track. You're a good one for remembering how these things go when my brain shorts out. Cool. Frankie's tuning the bass the same as the mandolin. How about both? All right, yeah. Chinkapin hunting. Here's the one in D.